All right.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that?
I hope that that's false.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that that's false because
Like, subscribe, and hit that bell.
I don't even think that that could even happen.
Yeah.
Given how much you go over, you re-go over, you go over it again right before the game, as the game is about to realize that you have the wrong wristband.
Start a game, I don't have the right wristband? I start a football game, I don't have the right wristband. And we're supposed to be evaluating this? Again, welcome. Everybody who's not a fan of the Browns before the season, and you're taking it all in, welcome, because this is par for the course. And constantly getting in your own way. And I'm going to sit here and talk.
That's not even, I'm not going to buy into that.
Yeah.
What did they say? Fake news? This is fake news. This is fake news. This better be fake news. Because you hit a person amongst your own team with the old switcheroo.
Oh, man. Oh, the old switcheroo.
But I wouldn't even.
What should have been a minor equipment issue somehow got turned into a manufactured controversy. Cam Newton didn't call out Shedeur, he unintentionally exposed the double standard surrounding him. When you actually listen to Cam's reaction, it's obvious he's not taking shots at Shedeur personally. He's speaking from the mindset of a veteran quarterback who understands how tightly controlled NFL game prep really is. From Cam's experience, the idea that a quarterback would start a game with the wrong wristband sounds unlikely because of how many layers of checks exist before kickoff. That's not criticism, that's professional perspective. Cam is essentially saying, based on how the league operates, this situation feels unusual. And that distinction matters. This discussion was never about questioning Shedeur's ability, intelligence, or readiness. It was about how something like this could even happen in a system designed to protect quarterbacks with staff, coaches, and structure. The real issue is how outsiders ran with the story. A simple wristband mishap was spun into a narrative about Shedeur's competence, which is wildly unfair. Rookie quarterbacks make small mistakes every season, but very few get their every move blown up like this. With Shedeur, everything is under a microscope. One detail becomes a headline. One moment becomes a judgment on his character. That's the real problem. Instead of focusing on how he's handled pressure, competed, and shown leadership, people rush to turn a minor moment into proof of failure. And to be clear, this can't be dismissed outright as fiction, because both Shedeur and Stefanski addressed it from their perspectives. That context matters and shouldn't be ignored. But it also shouldn't be weaponized. This wasn't evidence that Shedeur can't run an offense or isn't ready for the league. It was one moment in a long season and an even longer career. Cam's comments came from football logic, not disrespect. And when you add context, the story loses most of its heat. At the end of the day, this feels less like a scandal and more like another example of how intensely Shedeur is being scrutinized. Maybe too intensely. Once you actually look at what happened, the reality is far different from the online outrage. Stefanski admitted there was a breakdown in communication. Shedeur explained it plainly, the card slipped out on the sideline. That's it. No chaos, no panic, no mental lapse. Just a physical issue that got corrected quickly. And yes, both acknowledged it, so it's not imaginary. But zooming out, this clearly wasn't a quarterback meltdown. What's telling is what got ignored. Right from the opening sequence, the team was messy. A 52-yard kickoff return was allowed immediately. A punt pinned at the 1-yard line. A failed challenge burned a timeout early. A false start by a rookie tight end. Too many men on a fence. Then a punt that hands Chicago great field position. That's not a quarterback losing command, that's a team tripping over itself before the offense even settles. Yet the loudest talking point became a wristband. That's exactly what Cam was hinting at. NFL football runs on structure, and when structure breaks, it's rarely just one player. Blaming Shedeur never made sense. He stayed composed, explained it clearly, and moved forward. Meanwhile, the offense around him was already off rhythm from the jump. This pattern keeps repeating. The rookie quarterback becomes the headline, while penalties, sideline confusion, and poor game management slide by unnoticed. This wasn't proof of incompetence. It was another example of a young QB being blamed for symptoms of a larger issue. Until that gets addressed, the same cycle will continue.
I gotta pause real quick before we dive in. For the people that don't know, the viewers that don't know, what is the purpose of the wristband? Because all quarterbacks don't wear wristbands. So can you give us the background on the wristband?
Okay, there's multiple avenues or aspects of why a quarterback wears a wristband. I look at Justin Herbert, a person who wears wristbands. I look at, a lot of different quarterbacks, Shedeur being one of them, wearing wristbands. Lamar Jackson, wears wristbands. And it's pretty much dependent on the philosophy of the game plan.
Okay.
Right? Twins right, key left, 695 flash, F-drag sneak, flip it. Right. So instead of having a brain overload situation, naturally on a wristband, it would say twins right. If they tell you to flip it, all you have to do is just say, hey, twins left, key left, 695 flash, F-drag sneak. Dig what I'm saying? Instead of having a formation into the boundary, now it's to the field.
Okay.
Every coach teaches different. I was under multiple different philosophies while I was in the league. Rod Jasinski did not want us to have a wristband, especially coming from the office that I came from in college. It was look to the sideline. You had boards or signs or whatever, and that didn't necessarily convert to the NFL. All right. Now, I was always of the opponent, make it simple. You know what I'm saying? You can say a paragraph of a play and it don't even work. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or you can say a one-word thing. I mean, you play Madden, it all goes special.
What Cam is actually doing is providing clarity. He's explaining why wristbands exist at all, and that context is crucial for understanding Shedeur's situation. A wristband isn't a weakness, and it doesn't mean a quarterback doesn't know the offense. It's simply a tool. NFL playbooks are massive, especially with motions, shifts, protections, and situational adjustments layered into every call. Wristbands help keep communication efficient so the offense can line up quickly and play without hesitation. When Cam casually mentions quarterbacks like Herbert, Lamar, and Shedeur together, that's not criticism, that's validation. It places Shedeur among quarterbacks operating at the highest level. This isn't some embarrassing rarity people are pretending it is. One key point Cam implies is that wristband usage depends heavily on coaching philosophy. Some systems want everything controlled from the sideline. Some want full verbal control at the line. Others prioritize speed and simplicity. That decision doesn't belong to the quarterback alone. If Shedeur is wearing a wristband, it's because that's how the offense is designed to function. It's about clarity, pace, and execution, not intelligence. When people act like a wristband issue equals incompetence, they're either misunderstanding how NFL offenses work or intentionally ignoring it. Shedeur is managing a system that demands a lot mentally. The wristband exists to reduce overload, not create it. Turning a small equipment issue into a referendum on his ability makes no sense. Cam's explanation actually reinforces Shedeur's position. It highlights how normal this tool is and how tightly structured NFL offenses are. And when structure breaks down, it's rarely all on the quarterback. Shedeur is doing what is asked, using the tools provided, and handling the situation professionally. The noise surrounding it says far more about the commentary than it does about him.
All type of different things, but I always came from the cloth of, bro, you don't have to say a paragraph or a play to be effective.
And you still hear it in your ear.
You still hear it. And instead of the play being said, the play would say, hey, wristband 138. Hey, wristband 56. And then you go straight to wristband 56. The coordinator, the position coaches, they already know what it is. And then, as it comes in the headset, it will say, hey, wristband 52. All right. You got twins right, key left, 695 flash, F-drag C. Hey, we're going Peggy personnel here. You got, third, and everything that we've already had mentioned, what comes in through an average, play calling, 40-second play clock. But all those things, man, it just comes down to the offensive play call.
Cheat sheet, so to speak.
Correct. You have all these things that information at your disposal, personnel, protection, down and distance, and defensive tendencies as well too. So, that's
what Cam is really breaking down is how modern NFL offenses truly operate. Once you understand that, the wristband debate loses its meaning. Play calls aren't simple phrases yelled into a helmet. They're layered with personnel, protections, tendencies, down and distance adjustments, and situational checks. The wristband is a quick reference so the quarterback doesn't have to recite a paragraph every snap. When a number is called, everyone already knows what it represents. That's about speed and organization. So when people suggest Shedeur relying on a wristband means he doesn't understand the offense, they're completely missing the point. This is how professional football works, especially in systems that place a heavy mental load on the quarterback. What gets overlooked is that Shedeur isn't operating alone. He's processing headset communication, reading defenses, managing the play clock, and lining up teammates, some of whom are already making mistakes before the snap. The wristband is there to streamline that process, not to save a quarterback who's lost. Cam is laying out the reality that quarterbacks juggle a massive amount of information. When a small tool becomes the headline, it distracts from what's actually happening on the field. Shedeur isn't overcomplicating anything, he's executing within a system that already is. The fact that such a minor moment became such a big story shows how unfair the spotlight on him has been. That's where the conversation should shift. The real issue isn't Shedeur's wristband, it's the environment Stefanski has created. Why does this offense consistently start slow? Why are there repeated penalties, miscommunication, and disjointed sequences early? And most importantly, why isn't the system being simplified to help a young quarterback find rhythm? That responsibility doesn't fall on Shedeur. That falls on the head coach. Instead of nitpicking a tool every quarterback uses, the real question should be why Stefanski hasn't built an offense that protects his quarterback and lets him play freely. When you break it all down, this was never a scandal. It was a small detail exaggerated while larger issues were ignored. Shedeur handled it like a professional, and the wristband discussion says far more about the system than the quarterback. If you enjoy real football breakdowns, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments, do you see this as normal NFL stuff or another unfair narrative around Shedeur?